Welcome to Fresh Off the Set. I'm Kari Hawker-Diaz.
And I'm Brooke Mangum. Thanks so much for listening today because we've got an extra special episode. This is a family edition.
I know. You know what? And we already love Hannah, who's our associate producer.
Whoop, whoop. She's in the room, so say nice things right now, everybody.
We truly love her. And I got to interview her mom, Tessa, who's a job doctor. And if you're having issues at work or maybe you're just wondering about like, hey, is this right? She's so smart with all of this genre that it just like blows my mind.
Okay, well, then this is like thing is you need advice, right, in career field. And it's like so difficult to navigate that because every career I think is different and there's not one size fits all advice. And it's so great to have somebody to sit down and like tailor it exactly to you and to get that advice you need. Do you have any words of wisdom for us, Kari?
Oh my gosh. Words of wisdom. Stay in school, kids. Just kidding.
Yeah, honestly, though, that's a good one.
Just kidding. I actually went to hair school, so I don't even know how I'm here.
You went to school. Count it. Scoreboard.
It is school. You know what? I guess on that same level is knock on doors. I went to hair school, you guys. That's what I thought I wanted to do. I never thought that TV or being on camera or performing would be a reality for me. So I went to hair school, which I loved. A lot of my family members were cosmetologists and hairstylists. And I was like, you know what? This is great. I'm excited. I love it. And then opportunities started opening up for me. And I just said, you know, I'm not living my truth. This is really what I want to do. So even if you don't think that you're good enough, knock on those doors. Don't give up because I promise you one day one will open.
Oh, I love that. That's such great advice because I was similar in that regard. My advice would be show up. Just show up for the job you want. How I've gotten almost every single job. And Kari knows I show up for free. If you just keep on showing up, eventually they have to hire you. I did that on the radio. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning and I showed up for free for like almost a year. And then I did the morning show and then I was awarded my contract. And then I did that same thing here at Fresh Living. I just kept showing up. So that's my advice. And then once you've proven yourself by showing up like that, my next little tip is don't accept the first offer. Like know your worth, especially for women. We like get so excited. We're like, oh my gosh, this is the job I want. I'm so happy. Yes, yes, yes.
Whatever you want, I'll take it. Like, yep.
And you just don't accept that first offer. Even if you come back with a slight counter, because I can now tell you as a business owner myself, there is room in every single negotiation. I never go in with my top offer. Yeah. There's always a little wiggle room. And you sometimes think, oh, well, I don't want to appear ungrateful. No employer feels that way and they'll actually respect you more for knowing your worth.
It's true. That's very, very true. And I'm glad you showed up. Continue because now we have you.
That's right. Now they pay me to leave.
We love her. We do love her. Speaking of showing up, Tessa, the job doctor, is showing up on this podcast. Should we give it a listen?
Let's do it.
I am so excited for today's guest. It's Tessa White. She's known as the job doctor. Thank you for joining me.
This is really fun for me. Thank you for having me.
Well, this is fun for me because we have your daughter in here. And thank you so much. I have to say, Hannah is an amazing assistant producer. And thank you for sharing her with us.
Yes, she's fantastic. She helped me get where I needed to go. So
I mean, she helps us to get where we need to go. I mean, and her style, if you guys follow her on Instagram, I know this podcast is about you, Tessa, but I just have to shout out to your daughter. Her style is phenomenal. So maybe we'll drop her handle at the end of this too, so you can follow her because she's cool. She's real cool. Okay, Tessa. So can you share a bit about your background and what initially drew you to enter the world of business, influencing, and book writing?
Well, they're all different answers because what drew me into business, I became a single mom. I had 3 kids and I had mouths to feed and no college education. So I had to do something to make a living. So necessity started the whole thing. But then the shift from corporate America, which I did for 20 years, into being an accidental influencer, really was about wanting to go from helping the employer be successful and realizing that people needed the same kind of help. So I moved to the other side of the desk to help the individual. And I thought that would be really fulfilling for me, having done my own journey up the career ladder and seeing so many people as the head of HR behind closed doors and realizing there's common themes. And the book was simply a bucket lister item. It's just something I always wanted to do, and they all converged at about the same time.
I like how you said accidental influencer. Like that could be on our resumes now.
Yes.
Because it happens. I mean, I was just looking through your Instagram page, your TikTok page. You have so many followers, and you are ranked in the top 2% of creators on your live when you do your live on
That's
Instagram, on your live sessions. So if you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be and why?
3 words. Well, truth teller.
Okay.
I'm definitely known for cutting through things to just get right to it.
We need that, so that's good.
Risk taker. I mean, what other 57-year-old do you know that all of a sudden became an influencer? That's ridiculous. And boy, I would say adventurous probably. I will try just about anything once. And that's what's helped me be successful, I think, with the Job Doctor, because I've tried these ideas and people look at me, especially older people, my age, I call them older people, and they say, that's ridiculous. Why would you try that? That won't work. And I go, oh, really? Let's see. And so trying the impossible has gotten me where I am. And I've had some really boneheaded ideas that have not launched very well in the last 3.5 years. But I would say a vast majority, we've gotten over the finish line just because why not? Let's see what happens. Let's try it.
You literally never know until you try. And if you listen to all the voices around you saying, and even yourself in your head saying, oh, it's not going to work. How do you know until you try?
Yeah.
And that's why you are where you are, because you tried.
Well, I was thinking Dr. Ruth. I don't know. Older people know who Dr. Ruth is. She's a sex therapist that was like in her 70s.
Oh yeah. I know Dr. Ruth.
Yeah. Everybody loved Dr. Ruth. And at first I thought I'm too old to be an influencer. And then I said, Dr. Ruth did it. I can do it. There's got to be somebody that jumps through that window of opportunity, and nobody's doing career coaching and career navigation, at least very well. Nobody's claimed that space. So I said, well, let's give it a shot.
And Tessa's going to do it, and she did it.
I'm going to do it.
It's interesting because in school, at least in high school, we never learned these things. You learn to play hot cross buns on the recorder, but you don't learn everything that you're teaching now to all your followers and younger kids too, learning all of this. So tell us what the Job Doctor is, because that's your title, Job Doctor.
Mm-hmm. The Job Doctor helps people navigate their career. So get the job, get the pay, have a strategy around where you want to go and how you want to get there, because most people don't understand what happens behind closed doors. And having been in HR for 25 years, I'm in the room where it happens. Quite literally, and I can see the patterns, and I know what helps somebody get ahead and what helps somebody or hurts somebody in the process. And I finally thought, these things are just normal and natural to me, but the more I talk to my children or friends who came to me for career advice, they used to call it the Ask Tessa hotline informally. I realized that I knew something that other people didn't know. And so as I help people, I will often be told, you're psychic. Like, you told me how to have the conversation, and you literally told me what to say and what they would say back. And it happened exactly like you said.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's why we need you. We need you in the room with us. Okay. You talked a little bit about being a single mom. Can you tell us about your journey into the workforce and the challenges you faced as a single mom and as a woman navigating like a male-dominated industry?
Yeah, I have always been the only woman in the boardroom as long as I can remember.
Wow.
It's been very, very difficult, especially in Utah. Just add another layer of complexity to the whole thing. I became a single mom when I was 30, I think I was 31, when I had to figure this out.
That's young.
I had 3 kids in tow, no college education, and all I knew was that I could type and I liked people. So I thought, I should go into HR. I stumbled into HR as a profession and found that it was something that I could do. Now, if you fast forward 20 years, I'm, in Manhattan, New York, and I'm meeting with Blackstone, the top VC, and I'm heading up a compensation committee, and I'm like, how did I get here? How did this happen? But really the journey was harder than it may seem when you just tell it that short. It was really a lot of ups and downs, a lot of making mistakes, and a lot of hard work and learning how to speak up, which was not an easy thing for me as a woman. I grew up in a home where you were taught to smile and mostly, you're quiet.
And say please and thank you.
Say please and thank you. Look good. Don't cause a lot of trouble. And that was not going to work if I wanted to climb the career ladder. And my motivation, of course, was my children. I had to put food on the table, and I wanted to make it not look hard, or I didn't want my children to see me sad or stressed. I wanted them to feel safe. And so that's kind of how it started, was just digging in and taking the promotion and learning and stretching myself until I got to a place. I ended up actually in a Fortune 50 company, leading HR within a Fortune 50 company, again, without a degree. They stopped asking at that point.
Yeah.
And then I think that really helped me say, oh my gosh, I did the impossible. I did the thing I wasn't supposed to do. Why could I not be an influencer? Why could I not help people? And here we are.
What are some common misconceptions or challenges that you see that women face in the workforce, and how can we address them effectively?
I think the biggest misconception I see, if I'm generalizing women, which is always a dangerous thing, but generalizing, women often think if I work hard enough, I will be seen for all of the wonderful things that I do and I will be promoted. And that is not how it works at all. Women have to speak up for what they want. They have to ask for what they want, something that men are generally better doing. And we often think that it's self-serving if we're managing up by letting our manager or boss know what we're up to and what we're accomplishing, when in fact, it's not self-serving and it's not self-PR and it's not selfish. It actually is helping you let them know what you're capable of. I had a CEO come to me once and he said, why didn't you tell me you were doing that thing? Because I could have, if I knew you had that skill, I would have put you on lots of other projects and I could help elevate you. I could help you become more. And I realized I was holding myself back. And the thing that helped me early in my career, which was, Tessa's the person, the go-to person. You don't have to give her a lot of stuff. She's just going to get it done. She's a get shiz done kind of person. That served me early, but it didn't serve me as my career grew, and that happens to women a lot.
Well, because you feel like you're bragging, you're being rude if you're asking for too much. This is the way that I think a lot of us are brought up to feel.
Well, I learned in research, women are getting better at asking for raises, but here's what I think is so interesting. Women still, by and large, ask for raises very well when they feel like they have permission to ask for a raise. Isn't that the craziest thing? When I actually say that out loud and you realize, do I think I need permission to ask for what I'm worth, or ask for the role, or ask for the promotion? That's really something that holds us back. But once we ask, the studies say we actually do a pretty darn good job of asking. The way we ask works.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask, speaking of that, and this is just for everyone, what is the best way? Can you give a tip of how do we ask, men and women, how do we ask for that raise?
Okay, I'm gonna do it by teaching you something. Listen to what I say, and I'm gonna test you.
Okay.
Turn the tables.
Oh gosh, here we go. Okay.
Most people ask for a raise this way. See what's wrong with it, what you think is wrong with it.
Okay.
I deserve a raise. I've been doing the same job for 3 years, haven't had a raise. I've accepted a lot more responsibility. When Joe left, I took that on. And, the last raise that I got was only 2%, and I think I've shown I'm a good worker. What's wrong with that?
You're not showing what you can do.
That is part of it. And embedded in that is everything I said was about me. Me. I haven't gotten a raise. I've done more work. I've captured more. And the way you ask for a raise and get it over the finish line is you tell the company, here's what I have that you need, or here's what I've done for you. So if I change that to say, since I came on, I've accomplished X, Y, and Z, and it's resulted in increasing customer satisfaction.
Because they want results ultimately,
that's
right?
That's their language. And so when I can say, this is what I've done for you and how it's impacted the business, and here's what I'm going to do next, to your point, and how I think it can impact business, you're ahead of the game, because companies only care about what have you done for me lately. I hate to say it, but that's how they think. And they only think in numbers and results. And so if you can't speak that language, you're automatically not going to get the increase, or at least your odds go down significantly.
You're disqualified.
Well, and the other thing people do is they just say, here's what I want, give it to me or else. It's like they give them one proposal. But when you put an employer between a yes and a yes, you give them two potential things that would be satisfactory to you, you automatically, it's a sales trick. It's very psychological. Put them between a yes and a yes, not a yes and a no. And that also will help you.
A yes and a yes.
Yeah, like this would work for me, but this would also work for me. And here's another thing I've thought about. Maybe the second one is, what if we put a performance-based bonus in? If you can't go all the way with the raise I want, what if we do half of it here and half of it over here?
Look at that. You're coming up with solutions for them, and you're giving them a yes and a yes.
Well, it's only because I've listened to 10,000 pay negotiations in my lifetime. So you start to see what works and what doesn't work.
Sure, you've seen a lot. Okay, thank you for those tips. That's so good. Can you share a memorable success story or moment in your career that has had a lasting impact on you, or like a memorable story or moment where you were like, yes, this is amazing?
Oh, I wish I had more of those. I don't have a lot that stick out where I just went, yes, the moment has arrived. I can tell you that one of the moments I really appreciated was I do remember sitting in the Blackstone board meeting. I'm on the high-rise 22nd floor, dressed in black, the only woman in the room. And
New York.
Yeah, and I'm presenting this comp plan and I'm killing it. They're asking me questions like they want to get me, but I know my stuff. And I remember in that moment saying, yes, like I know my stuff. Like I should be here. Because there's not a lot of times in my career where I can say I had that moment where I went, I deserve to be here. But that was one of them. I'm like, I deserve to be here. I'm prepared to be here. And I just thought, wow, this is really cool.
And just that energy that you felt was priceless.
It was really neat. And another one that was really important to me was a bucket lister when we went public. I was working for Vivint Solar. I was the only woman on the podium and got to ring the bell as we went public. And I do remember just feeling like, wow, I never thought in a million years this single mom who was trying to eke out a living, started out as a secretary, I'm ringing the bell. And that was really neat too.
Look at you breaking down barriers, knocking down those walls. And you know what? If you think about it, it goes back to like your kids. And when you talk about that, your motivation for your kids, that'll do it to us.
Yeah, they're very motivating. You would, for those who don't have kids yet, and even those who do, that you would, once you have them, everything you do in life is to make their life better.
It changes. It changes. It does. Okay, your transition from the workforce to becoming an influencer seemed like quite an interesting jump, as you were saying. Can you walk us through the journey? And were you like out buying tripods and like, like new phone lights and, like how did you jump from one to the other?
Hannah's going to laugh because she knows the true story.
She's nodding.
I will tell you, the reason that I went after social media isn't what most people, why? I wanted to write a book, and that was on a bucket list. And I went to an agent, and she said, you're a nobody. I cannot get you a book deal. You're just another HR person. And it really hurt me. I thought, yeah, but I'm a good one.
This was before social media.
Before social media. And she said, yeah, you may be a good one, but they're a dime a dozen. I can't sell a good HR person. You need followers. So she said, come back to me when you have followers. So I didn't know how to get followers. I didn't have social media. I went to Hannah and I said, well, can you help me? You know social media. And she said, you know what, Mom, I will post your stuff. It's really good. I'll post it on TikTok. Let's see how it does, because I couldn't even log into TikTok. She posted it on TikTok. And 3 days later, my son calls and he goes, Mom, my girlfriend said she saw you on her For You page on TikTok. Is that even possible? And I said, oh my gosh, I am on TikTok. I totally forgot. Let me go log in and see what's going on. In 3 days, I had 10,000 followers.
In 3 days?
3 days. And it was Hannah. Hannah is the one that got me on TikTok.
We have to just clap for Hannah.
And she helped me with Instagram and some of the other platforms as well. And it was really hard because at first I was so embarrassed. I would do a post and I go, I look so stupid. I sound so stupid. I'd erase it. And finally I got to a point where I just said, come what may, I'll put it out there. Yeah. I'm probably more nervous about me than nobody cares as much. And it just kept going. There was a good 2 years that I was getting 1,000 followers a day.
Oh my gosh.
Which is insane to me.
Did it start on TikTok then?
Started on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And was it naturally just moving into the job doctor? Did you come up with the page at first? And think like I'm going to be the job doctor, posted it, or did it like evolve into the job
Well,
doctor?
I got bored. I was just like everybody, locked into my house. I wanted to fly fish and not work. I was retired, and then the pandemic happened, and if you know me, you cannot lock me into a house. I will go stir crazy. So I made a website, and I had a dream about this name, The Job Doctor, and I grabbed the URL and I built the website.
Yeah.
And the day we turned it on, and I do rent my brain sessions, so I help people, and I was full the first day I turned it on, and it feels like the happiest of accidents.
Yeah.
And since then, it's just been a freight train. I've held it back because I've been nervous to go too hard, and I haven't wanted to work too many hours, but it just wants to go. I get calls from, all over the nation and from every major news outlet, and we've never sought any PR ever. And yet it just comes and comes and comes and comes. And so now I finally hired a bunch of people. My husband left his job, and we're going for it. So
Look at that.
Yahoo! Next stage is the job doctor.
Okay. All right. How did you leverage social media and online platforms to build it? And what were some of the key strategies that you think worked? Was it posting every day? Was it posting multiple times a day? Were the videos shorter? What do you notice works for you?
I threw away any advice that anybody else would give. And I just said, how do I add value to the people that are struggling? That is the only thing I did. My videos were the jankiest. I didn't know how to edit them. I didn't have my makeup on. Some days my mascara was smeared. I just focused on what do people need? What am I hearing that people need? And answer those questions. And then I also learned that people don't need big, principles to follow, these giant, difficult things. They needed scripts. They needed practical scripts and practical cut through all the crap. How do you deal with this? What's going to happen to me if I press this button? What happens? And what's going to happen to me when I press this button? So I got very short, sweet, truth-telling, and just used the questions from people to then do more. And I'm sure if somebody got to me, they'd say, you should have a couple million followers. You're doing this all wrong. I don't know what I'm doing still to this day. All I do is put out content that I think is interesting and see what happens.
Well, you're doing something right. You're doing something right, Tessa. What if someone hasn't followed you and is now going to? What kind of subjects, what kinds of things will they find on your pages?
They'll find, how do I ask for a raise? When do I ask for a raise? Should I leave my company? Should I stay? My manager sucks. How do I fix it? Or can I fix it? I did something really stupid. How do I fix the perception of me? Should I take this other job or should I not? That's kind of the variety of things I get. Most calls that I get, Rent My Brain sessions, which come from my social media, are, my boss is an idiot, what do I do? Or I want to leave my company and start somewhere else. Am I crazy?
How do I do it?
Yeah.
Those are the popular things that you get asked during the live sessions.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's some variation of that.
Okay. You, we were just talking, you've gained a significant following and influence online. How do you balance authenticity with the pressure of being an influencer? And what's been the most positive impact? What's been the most negative impact do you see? Because I'm sure you get comments and things, and social media can be good, can be bad. It's all of it, right?
Well, apparently I have a horse face. I'll tell you that. If you listen to the comments that you get, people are absolutely cruel beyond words.
Right.
For me, what I found is that I have to just cut through the crap, give the good stuff. I have to give myself breaks. There have been periods of time, particularly for my followers know that about 9 months ago, my son tried to end his life and he ended up paralyzed, and it just blew up our whole world. So I went off social media for 6 months.
I'm so sorry.
I thought my whole business would die. It didn't. And I actually brought people into parts of that journey, which was wonderful. I mean, we had tens of thousands of people pray for us, and I really think that's part of why he is healing as much as he is. But you have to take social media breaks, and I'll tell you, having been on all the platforms, they make you sick. They make you soul sick. And I'm an influencer telling you, social media makes you soul sick. I have to be really, really careful about how much I'm on and have team members post and get on a lot of the time for me nowadays, because I can tell an immediate difference in my mental health if I'm on too much. Isn't that interesting?
It's so true though. I find myself when I'm just scrolling and, you're getting all this information, and it can be, even if it's great information, it can be just very overwhelming. And you have like the online bullies which you've obviously experienced. And so the flip side of it, when you can turn it into something good and do what you're doing and helping people, you're obviously seeing the need that people don't know how to navigate, even into their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever age, to navigate real life job situations.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're building right now is a mentoring portal, because I can't get to enough people. I can't help enough people. And we're trying to find a way to get the goodness of social media, of help and community and connectiveness together, so that we can create something really wonderful with people. One of the pieces of feedback I get from people is that I listen to you because you're real and because you're authentic and because I feel like you're talking just to me. And I think that comes from, I really don't care what I look like on social media, and anybody that follows me knows that. There are days that I look like a totally different person. And as long as I'm not focused on needing to look or be a certain way, and then chase the bullies away, once in a while in a live, someone will come on and they'll say, how can you even show up when you look like this right now? Like, you could use some makeup right now, or you look really old. Life has aged you. And I will immediately stop and say, okay, friends, you do not belong here. If you're looking for somebody beautiful and somebody that is perfect, you are the wrong influencer. What we do here is we talk about real things in real time. And if you care what I look like, you better go find a different influencer to follow. And it is amazing. They'll get off and then we continue with our community.
Well, I think you're beautiful. So
Thank
I
you.
think those people are crazy. And it's interesting when you look at that side of like the social media bullying, and you just know those people are so unhappy that they would feel the need to come on and comment on,
Oh, it's a hobby
and
for
say
many
whatever
people.
it is.
They just troll and say things to irritate. They do.
Well, you're taking the high road. I like that,
Yeah.
Tessa. Okay, you're writing, you have a book. So what motivated you to write your book, and what's the main message you hope readers take away from it? I know you said when you wrote the book, you kind of found the social following to get the social following to write the book. So what motivated you?
Oh, it was funny. I should end that story. So I went back about 4 months later and told this agent, hey, I've got some followers now. I've got 300,000 followers. And she said, are you kidding me? Did you say 300,000 followers? She just couldn't, how did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just started posting. Anyway, the book was something I've always wanted to write a book. And I really felt like I wanted to write the book I wish I'd had as a young career professional.
Yeah.
Because not only was I going through the journey as a single parent on my own, but I was seeing so many thousands of people that I was laying off or hiring or firing and thinking, oh, if they just knew this, it would help them. And so I wrote that book, and I was really picky about it. I said, there isn't a book that's written like this. This is a book that's more of a handbook. You could start at any chapter. You could start in the middle of the book, find the topic you need. And I wanted it to be very Gen Z. I wanted it to have scripts and tips and things that were bolded so that you could literally scroll through the book and see what was bolded and read the whole book if you needed to in 10 minutes. And luckily, Harper Collins, one of the top publishers in the nation.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. They picked up my book. I mean, what a cool thing for somebody that's a first-time author. And they said, we want to take a chance on you. And they let me have complete carte blanche as to the way that I structured the book, which was really different from the way other books are structured. And it went number one. It was number one for like a week, I think.
When was this?
It released last year. March 23rd was my release date when my baby was born. And then it has continued. Usually books go up and then they go down again after a couple months, and mine continues to climb. And so word of mouth, just little old me, in my house, just with a couple of helpers, and we're in Google and McDonald's, and we've been called by TikTok even. Big companies,
just a few little
companies. Yeah, and it's really incredible to see what's happening.
Well, congrats. You deserve it. And if someone is listening right now thinking, you know what, I've always wanted to write a book, but I have all these stories in my head. I have people around me saying, you can't do that. It'll never work, you know. What advice would you have for someone listening right now wanting to write their own book?
Well, this is really practical advice because we often think we can write it and the book publishers will come. It doesn't work that way. You have to write a book proposal if you want to sell it and not self-publish. And a proposal has to be written a very specific way. I did not know this. You should hire somebody to help you write that proposal.
Okay.
And you need an agent if you want to get published by an actual publishing company. Now, if you want to self-publish, game's on. You can do that any way you want. And you can sell your book on Amazon. But I will tell you that now, having had to market my book and figure out how to sell it, it's incredibly hard without a partner. And even a Harper Collins, who's the best of the best, everything's changing so quickly that it's very, very hard to sell a book. So get the right publisher if you're not going to self-publish. And if you are going to self-publish, get somebody who can edit, get somebody who's a really good editor to go through your book and help you make it great. I probably wrote my book 3 times over before it was in the condition that we needed it to be. I had no idea it would be so difficult, the editing process.
So be patient. It's going to take time, but get the right people in the beginning that knows kind of the path that.
Yeah. This is one of those things that you can get it out on paper, but you need people who are in the industry that can help you get it over the finish line.
That's good advice.
Unless it's just a pet project and you just want to publish it just to have it, and then go for it. You can write anything you want.
Sure, if that's a goal of yours. That's you could do
Sure.
it right. What advice do you have for women who aspire to become entrepreneurs or authors or influencers, but they're feeling overwhelmed or uncertain where to start?
Start. Somebody has to do the crazy job. If your lifetime dream is to write Hallmark cards with funny lines, somebody has to do that job. If you want to be an archaeologist and discover, ancient reptiles, somebody's doing that job. And for me, the key is you have to give energy every day to the thing that you want to do. Energy creates more energy, and it will begin to unfold. I mean, for me to say, I want to be an influencer, I think I'm going to have 1 million followers and I'm going to be on television and have a best-selling book and be in morning television all the time. I never could have seen that coming. But you just have to take a step a day. You literally can be anyone and do anything, and age is a silly, silly thing to stop.
Get that out of your
head. My gosh, I'm having more fun at 57 than I had.
Yes.
Why didn't I start my own business when I was 40? But just do it. I think so many women I talk to think that the only jobs available to them are being a secretary or working in retail if they don't have like a skill set yet. And while if that's what you want to do, you should go for it, there are so many possibilities. You can be anything. And in 5 years, you're either going to have taken steps to become that thing, or you're going to be in the exact same spot wishing you had taken some steps to become that thing. You absolutely can do it.
Ain't that the truth? Time's going to pass either way, right?
It's going to pass.
So true. What are your future plans for projects, and how do you envision continuing to empower and inspire others through your work? Where do you see, the future for yourself?
Okay, I'm going to say out loud crazy things because that's the way
Do it.
That's the way
Do
stuff
it.
happens, right?
Yes.
You have to first think it, and then you have to say it, and then you can begin taking steps. I want to have a TV show. Do you remember the old show where they would do the home makeover and the whole home makeover, or the personal makeover, and they do the hair and the teeth and everything?
Yep, and the reveal. And
I want to take over. I want to do a makeover for people in their jobs, people that are trying to change their career or get a job. I want to just give me you for just a couple of days. I'll teach you how to do the interview. I'm going to show you what you need to look like. We're going to learn the right language. We're going to get the certifications. I think people their minds would be blown if they could see what I could do with them in a day. And I know this because I'm working with people all the time, and I watch this happen. I get about 10 messages a day from people who say, I got a $50,000 raise because of you. Or I am one of 3 experts in the United States that does this thing because you gave me confidence to do it. And I just want to share that with people and give them hope that they can make their lives better. You can go from cleaning hotel rooms to making $100,000 as a software engineer in 5 years. You can do it. I just want to show people that. So that's what I think would be really great.
I know you're going to do it. I feel your energy. I know, because you're not going to stop trying. That's just what you do. And so you're going to, I feel it. So I can't wait to see the show.
Yeah, when you realize your potential, and this is true for any individual, once you realize that you can create whatever you envision and that it can be done, it's just so fun. Why was I so scared my whole life? Why was I so scared?
These stories we tell ourselves.
You know what? Do it.
And throw out
Do
those
it.
stories.
If you have a dream, please do it.
And to kind of bounce off of that, if someone's listening right now thinking, you know what, I'm going to follow Tessa. I need some advice. I'm kind of feeling stuck in my job and I've been asking for a raise and I'm just not being heard and I'm not feeling happy. And I know that's an open book of what advice you could give, but is there something you can say to them so they know that there's a little light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, the first thing I would recommend they do, it's a values analysis, and it's in the book for $10. Go get the book. Take the values analysis. There's really 5 areas, and you rate how important those areas are to you. An example would be how entrepreneurial are you, or how important is it that you make a difference? 1 to 10. And you fill out the values analysis. Then you fill it out for your company. How does my company do in those? And you'll quickly learn where the disconnects are. And that will help you decide whether you're leaving because you are a mismatch with your company or whether there's something else going on. Because what I get are people calling saying, I can't stand it anymore. We have to define what it is.
What is it?
And
right.
Once you know, like for me, I did this analysis on myself many years ago and realized, oh my gosh, I have to be feeling like I'm making a difference with people. That's new for me.
That's me too.
Right?
I just realized
I have to
that's
make a
me
difference.
too, yeah.
And something's changed. I'm older now, and I need more flexibility in my day. And I learned that I'm a big thinker doer, but once it's working, I get really bored, and I don't like maintaining. And once I understood that, I thought, I'm in a job where I built things, and now I'm maintaining. Of course, I'm not happy. I need to make a change, and so that's what I would recommend people do is a values analysis to understand what the it is before they start changing jobs, because changing jobs is actually a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. That's really good advice to figure out. Is it, well, we think like, oh, I'm just not being paid enough. But really, what is it about? Are you just not feeling heard? Are you not making a difference? Are you not?
Yeah.
So
Because if you're not feeling heard, then that's all about communication. How can you start having the right conversations at work instead of just leaving? And then you have to expend 20% more effort for 6 months to prove yourself.
Yeah.
When you could have spent 10% more effort just having the hard conversation.
Oh, Tessa, this is why we need you in our offices. Can we just multiply 1 million of you? That would be amazing. What is the book called? And tell us where we can get it.
It's called The Unspoken Truths for Career Success, Navigating Pay, Power, and Politics in the Workplace. And you can get it anywhere books are sold. Amazon is my favorite because it's usually free shipping, but Barnes & Noble is another really great place you can get it. And it's Audible, so that I actually got to voice over my own book, which is cool. Or you can get it in just a regular book.
Okay, that's where we can take the test too in there to figure out what.
That's right.
Okay.
And in fact, if you go to thejobdoctor.com, that's my website. If you get the book through there, it'll take you to Amazon, but it will put you on a wait list for mentoring, because we're opening up this mentoring platform at the end of summer. And if people are interested, what I'm doing is creating a platform that everybody can afford to get access to me with help and mentoring on a regular basis, rather than, oh, well, you can wait 3 weeks and maybe get into one appointment. This is going to be a really neat platform.
So that's coming soon.
Yes.
Very, very cool. Okay. We like to wrap this up. I wish I could talk. I could talk to you for hours, and I'm sure people could listen to your advice for hours, but we unfortunately have to wrap this up. But we're going to play Fresh 5 really quick. So I'm going to ask you 5 fun questions to get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
Did Hannah write these questions?
She didn't.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee. What's
scarier, spiders, clowns, or snakes?
Snakes, no question.
She didn't even blink.
Oh my gosh.
She didn't even blink. If you could have dinner with any celeb, past or present, dead or alive, who would it be? Any celebrity, if you could have dinner or coffee.
It's not the celebrities. It's like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You know, if she were, that's who I want to talk to.
Cool.
People who just busted through
Yeah.
these major barriers. Those are the people I like.
I like that one. Your favorite season? What's your favorite season of the year?
It's spring.
Spring.
I'm a fly fisherman, and so this is when the hope comes. All of a sudden, you get a good day, and I wake up, and I'm just like, I got to get on a river. So, and I know that I have months ahead of me that I
Yeah.
can be outside because I hate winter so much. I don't ski. I'm probably the only person in Utah that doesn't ski.
Well, I'm there. I'm here too. So you and I.
Yeah, we got to
You
enjoy
and
the
I.
good. We got to
We
enjoy
do.
the good times.
We do. Okay, last one. What makes you smile?
What makes me smile is when my kids get outside of themselves and I see them do something for someone else. Like Hannah brought me my favorite Starbucks refresher drink, and that makes me smile for days. So simple things like that.
You love your kids, huh?
I love my kids. They're
Love it.
amazing.
Well, we love you. And it's been so fun to get to know you, Tessa. Thank you for the advice. Thank you for the insight. And if people, and you should follow her, where should we go? What's the best place? I know you're on multiple platforms.
They can follow me, Job Dr. Tessa, on just about any social platform, YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. They can also, I have a weekly podcast on Spotify and Apple called The Job Doctor's In, and they can actually hear Rent My Brain sessions and watch us solve problems with real people with real problems. It's really fun. And then they can go to thejobdoctor.com for all of the latest and greatest of where I'm going to be speaking and where they can find me.
Look at that. Okay. And I'm sure if you go to one of those, you link the other so
You'll
we can
find me.
find you. The Job Doctor.
I'm pretty much everywhere. You'll find me.
We just appreciate your time, Tessa White, Job Doctor Queen. Thank you for being here.
you.
We appreciate you. It's so fun to get to know you. And thank you for listening to another episode of Fresh Off the Set. Please rate, review, and subscribe, and we will see you next week. Congrats, you made it to the end. If you want to continue to freshen up your day, you can watch us on Fresh Living every weekday on CBS Channel 2 in Utah at 1 o'clock. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, KUTV Fresh Living, and follow us on social media. We will see you next week.